TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a Primal Lifestyle. With your hosts, Nico and Ellen Haan. Now, Nico and Ellen Haan.
Hey there, good morning. I'm Nico Haan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. Good morning, I'm Ellen Haan.
It's a beautiful morning. Downtown St. Petersburg is 70 degrees, going up to 82, and a low of 68 tonight, and we're into that May pattern almost, where it's really nice out.
Yeah, it's
a little
spring.
warm, but yeah, spring. Birds are chirping. We like that. Number here is 877-927-6648. And before we get started, I'd like to remind you of two things. Our Primal Edge, over 310 organic cell-ready liquid ingredients. $89 brings it to your door every single month, folks. And all powered by fulvic and humic acid to get the good stuff in.
And get the bad stuff out.
And, of course, we have our Health Signals newsletter, which follows the show. All the articles we'll be talking about today will be in our new one. And it comes out on the 1st and the 15th of every month or thereabouts. How are you this morning?
No, I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this little article that came in from the Times of Israel, and it's junk food may harm skeletal development in the young. Researchers from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem have discovered. It's a study that was led by the Department of Biochemistry, Food Science, and Nutrition at the University of the Faculty of Agriculture. And this showed that ultra-processed food can cause reduced bone quality, which is essential, of course, to the health of young children in their developing years.
Yeah, this article was particularly interesting to me because we talked about junk food, and we know it's not good for you. And,
right.
And
there's
mostly,
a picture of it right there.
Yeah, mostly we think in terms of obesity or diabetes or blood pressure problems and all kinds of leading to heart disease and so on and so on. But I never actually stopped to think about whether junk food could affect growth plates and bone density.
Yeah, I think actually it probably does the de-development of everything in the body. And we were kind of lucky probably because our parents never bought junk food.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much available when we were growing up, not as much. But now you see it everywhere, and it's the packaged food, especially if you look in the picture behind me here. That's the typical type of thing that you see. At the checkout counter.
Right.
You know, that's normally where it is because it's advertised. And I would say that good food doesn't need to be advertised. So when you're advertising food, it's probably not good for you right from the beginning.
Well,
just my own personal
it's also
opinion.
Impulse buy.
Yeah.
You know, you put it right by the counter and say, oh, let me throw this in. You know, it's just, when we were growing up, well, you're right. We didn't have the places that serve the processed food, the fast food, but we didn't have candy in the house.
Right.
You know, it wasn't, because it cost money and it was more of a luxury. So every once in a while, I remember as a child, the biggest treat we had was a Three Musketeers bar, and the whole thing was
boy, those were good.
you shared it with two friends. That was the advertising was big enough for three friends, you know, Three Musketeers. And we would get a third.
That's what parents always did.
Of the candy bar,
Yeah.
and that would be your treat.
And that's probably why I went to the little store after my paper route before I saw my parents. And usually I have a nickel or a dime left, you know, that I could kind of hide and spend it on something. And these were a big pull for everybody, you know, because you go into those little stores and you either buy a Coke or you buy one of these little packages of something, or a Milky Way bar, something like that. And it's just a fantastic little snack that really puts you over the edge. It gives you energy, you make you feel good, yum, yum, yum. Now, it doesn't last very long, but dinner's right around the corner, so probably no problem. But I remember that. I remember how pulling it was for me. I mean, when you saw that stuff, you wanted a little piece of that.
Well, especially if you didn't have it.
Yeah.
If you didn't have it very often, or it wasn't in the house, it was the lure of the forbidden or the unknown.
We weren't so addictive to it as some of the other kids, but it was just kind of a thing that you did because you didn't have it at home, and all the kids were doing it, or something like that. And it was advertised, of course. And a lot of these, remember, the old candy and cereal stuff had little prizes for kids in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Cracker Jacks box.
Yeah, Cracker Jacks is definitely one of them. Even just the cereal boxes. I remember the little submarines. You put baking soda in, and it would sink and go up and down, just to get your
science
cereal.
Project, right?
Now, the reason, exactly. The reason I bring this up is because we know that if you start off on the wrong foot, then you may be compromised all your life. I don't know.
Well, first you develop bad habits that then carry through, and then that connects the food to the emotion, to the need, to the whatever satisfaction, comfort you get from it, to the celebration part that it's connected to, whatever it might be. And then you have the problem of, if you start off with junk food at a very young age, you have the problem that it definitely affects the growth plates and the, the RNA genetic profiles of cartilage cells that are exposed to junk food demonstrated impaired bone development. Now, if you're a child and you're growing and your skeleton is, you want to maximize the possibilities for your body to be healthy and strong and carry you through your life.
Yeah, and of course the RNA strand is part of the DNA, and if that changes, I mean, we're talking about the COVID vaccines doing a small change to get rid of this so-called disease that's out there that we don't even know exactly what it is. So when you're changing the RNA, you're also changing the DNA of the human cells. So, when you're doing that, you're talking about development. So these kids are growing and...
Well, this article says the foods are attractive because, number one, they're accessible, obviously, and number two, they're cheap.
Yeah.
And children especially like junk food, so that they say that, according to the study, 70% of their caloric consumption came from ultra-processed foods as an average.
Yeah,
and 50% of American children eat junk food on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that's so different from what you and I had eaten when we were children, and still, of course, we don't do that now.
Yeah, and ultra-processed foods are rich in fat and sugar, and they actually have an adverse effect on skeletal development, which can manifest as growth retardation and who knows what as on the long term.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as a healthy ultra-processed food.
Yeah, I think we know that. And this all comes down to what I want to talk about next, and that's the digestive system, because all these foods go through our body and are digested, and our bodies are seeking nutrition from this food. And I think it's important to know really how the digestive process work and how to support your digestion, how to get the thing working in the right way. And of course, it starts with feeding it the right food. That's the most important thing. Every cell in your body that makes up every tissue and every organ depends on your digestive system to provide nutrients that keeps on functioning. To keep on functioning. So digestion is that thing we're going to talk about next. So stick around, folks. We've got a lot to talk about, and we'll be right back.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
And welcome back. The goal of digestion process is to reduce food to molecules so small that the nutrients can be absorbed and used by cells, turned into fuel for the body, otherwise known as
adenosine triphosphate.
ATP. Exactly. Thank you.
And food is a source of life. We're perfectly evolved to take in the nutrients, to absorb them, to use them for repair, to use them for energy. Mm-hmm. But still, why do we have so many digestive dysfunctions, like heartburn, indigestion, slow digestion, diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating, and so on? So we were looking at the actual digestive process. And this article really has a nice breakdown of exactly how it works. And
yes,
it starts with the brain.
Yeah, it starts with the brain. Digestion is north-south process that begins with the brain, and the sight and smell of food triggers saliva glands to producing the saliva.
Yeah, and the mouth then is the gateway to the digestive system, and that's where the mechanical and chemical breakdown of the food begins. You chew, they puts in the saliva, which is an enzyme. It's salivary amylase, which begins the carbohydrate digestion.
That's what gets first, that's right. And food enters the stomach as bolus. The stomach continues the mechanical breakdown of the bolus along with a number of chemical additives and turns it into chyme.
Yeah, and then it goes to the small intestine.
Right.
And the chyme enters the duodenum and travels through the small intestines and stimulates the production of other enzymes. And that, in the small intestine, is where the bulk of the absorption of the nutrients occurs.
Yeah, and then the large intestines recycles the water and waste material, which nourishes the colon cells. It captures any lost nutrients that are still available with the help of the bowel flora and converts the nutrients to vitamins K, B1, B2, B12, and butyric acid. And then the remnants forms are eliminated as feces.
Yeah, so it's, you don't think of your brain as being involved in the process of
No, but that's the first thing that happens is the smell. Yeah. Then we have these three organs which kind of filter everything. So these are really problems. And I think if you look at the state of health in the Western nations like the United States, you'll find that we have problems with the pancreas, we have problems with the gallbladder, and we have problems with the liver. There's diseases of these things. And, the pancreas is the thing that has these juices in them,
enzymes.
the enzymes to digest food.
Yeah, and your pancreas has to inject the enzymes. The gallbladder has to produce the bile.
Right.
Then the liver is supposed to secrete the bile into the digestive tract to help with digesting fat.
Yeah, and notice in the beginning it says saliva is already breaking down these carbohydrates. And this is why you and I have for a long time eaten the protein and the fat first, because we know that breaks down into the digestive system. So it takes longer, although it's very quick operation, where carbohydrates already start breaking down fast. So that sugar rush can become very quickly if you're eating like potatoes first. Or, something like that. Or if you're eating all the pasta first. Now, all of a sudden, you're digesting these things, and the sugar starts entering the digestive system fast, which insulin has to be there to guard against.
Wow.
But if you're producing the fats, the insulin is much, much lower, and it's important to realize that we didn't have carbohydrates thousands of years ago. We have them now, and they cause problems for us.
Well,
because they just
the
fast.
bottom line is that meat takes longer to digest, meat and fat.
It doesn't really take longer.
Just because it doesn't start in the mouth.
Right. That's the process. Once it gets in the stomach, it's relatively quickly. It's the carbohydrates with fiber that slow everything down.
Yeah, so you want to eat the carbs after.
Yeah, and this is the way we did it in Europe. You'd eat the meat and the fat and everything first, and then the carbohydrates, and maybe some dessert, which is also carbohydrates.
And salad after the meal.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, so that way your digestive system is having a chance to move through the stuff that in the order that is easiest to digest.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. So there's 5 ways to improve digestion. First one is reducing stress, and I would think that everybody now in the world has digestive problems because of the added stress of the COVID.
Well, and all of the things that came with the shutdown and with losing jobs and with closing offices and with
now getting your shot and the pressure to get the shot or not get the shot, those types of things.
There's so much stress.
Number 2 is slow down and chew your food, and this is very important, of course. Eat meals.
Wait, before you move on, just for a second here, back to the reducing stress. We've talked about this before. Your body has a fight or flight. When you have stress, it reacts either it's going to leave the scene and get away from it, or it's going to fight.
Right.
And it was intended to be a very short-term thing. And it was, you would deal with the crisis and move on. But with the way that the stress is these days, that you're not able to move on, because even if you get through one thing, then there's something else that...
Yeah, and the importance of this is that while the flight and fright thing is going on in your body, no digestion is taking place.
Right.
You don't digest while that's going on.
Yeah, your body's summoning up all of its energy.
It's too busy doing other things.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why we need to slow down and chew your food. This is very important. Eat meals slowly, chew food thoroughly in order to break down the carbohydrates and activate other enzymes before moving on to the next stage.
And the other thing is, the other reason to eat slowly and chew your food thoroughly is that if you do have any of these digestive issues, if you aren't chewing your food all the way through,
it's harder to break down because it's bigger pieces.
Bigger pieces, and they can also get stuck, or they can cause a problem because they're too big and they haven't been broken down enough.
Right. Number 3 is hydrate. It's important to stay hydrated throughout the day so that your body can properly transport the nutrients to your digestive tract. Limiting...
But
don't do it
during while you're eating is not the best
time. Right.
Yeah,
unless you have a little wine.
It dilutes the gastric juices.
Yes, indeed. Number 4 is eat fermented foods. And fermented foods increase the bioavailability of nutrients, especially the carbohydrates.
It makes them easier to digest.
Yeah. Consuming fermented foods also been known to slow down, or shown to reduce the phytic acid, an anti-nutrient that's found on food grains. So these type of phytic acid, if you're eating cereals and grains and pastas and things like that, phytic acid is the thing that is produced.
It's anti-nutrient. That's
it's an
the
anti-nutrient.
problem.
Yeah, it doesn't really help with digestion.
Yeah, this was interesting. Go for a walk.
Yeah.
If you have slow digestion, a 15-minute walk after each meal would be a great way to improve digestion.
Yeah.
It would have the additional benefit of helping to relieve stress.
Yeah.
And get a little movement, and that's always good for your body.
Yeah, and I remember going for walks, but it was most of the time it was before dinner to get the appetite up, in a sense.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And the next article we're going to go on is about the common diseases, digestive orders. So when we get back, when we get back from the break, it's called Most Common Digestive Diseases and Disorder. And, well, let's go over that when we get back.
Start here.
Yeah, it really starts with GERD, and this is a problem that you had. I had a little bit of that, and it comes from...
Gastroesophageal reflux disease.
Yeah, and it's where the acid comes up reflux. And starts hitting your
esophagus.
Yeah, and it's the reason being is your food is not digesting, so the acid is kind of sitting up there. We'll discuss that when we get back. Stick around, folks.
You've heard Nico Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And Welcome back. We were talking about GERD before the break, and a lot of people have acid reflux. Yeah, and this is a result of your food is not digesting in the stomach. It's kind of sitting there rotting, and the phytic acid is being produced by the food breaking down itself, and that kind of splashes up and hits your esophagus. Most people take like Tums or something like that. That's not the thing to do. Actually, you need hydrochloric acid, which is your normal stomach acid, to help break down the food before that happens.
Yeah, the bottom line is that acid reflux is not your hydrochloric acid. It's a lack of hydrochloric acid. It's not too much.
That's what starts the process, and then the acid that's produced is the phytic acid.
Right.
Number 2 is the gallstones. Now, gallstones is...
Well, just one second.
Yeah.
You know, the acid reflux does have some symptoms so that you can say, you know, is this just plain old heartburn, or is this really an acid reflux? And it's a burning sensation in the chest, often accompanied by a sour taste in the mouth. And then they could also manifest as wheezing, a sore throat, a chronic cough, and difficulty in swallowing.
Yeah.
So, but they do say that lifestyle changes can help.
Sure. Start eating the right stuff. Gallstones. The gallbladder is a small pear-shaped organ attached to your intestines. It stores the bile, a fluid that aids in digestion. Sometimes, however, this can form as hard deposits known as gallstones. So this is when the process is not working up, too much cholesterol or waste in your bile, and your gallbladder doesn't work, and then it produces these gallstones.
Yeah, and apparently there's more than 20 million Americans suffer from gallstones.
Yep.
And then, but sometimes they don't have any symptom, but they do. So most people have some kind of pain or nausea or fever, or even infection, about 25%.
And they often results in surgery to remove the gallbladder, and we know that the liver can produce some of that bile, even though it's in smaller quantities than, but people have lived without it. But I encourage you to keep your gallbladder, for sure.
Well, if you can, but the pain is really intense.
Yeah, you change your lifestyle these days, you can pretty much get rid of that problem.
Yeah, celiac disease.
Yeah, celiac disease condition where individuals have immune reaction to consuming a certain gluten, usually found in rye or wheat or barley, but it's also caused by ultra-processed food, because these things are in there, and usually not even showing up on the label because it's so small amounts, but people get triggered with this.
Well, celiac disease as an actual syndrome is fairly rare. However, about 5% of Americans these days have a severe gluten intolerance. I mean, which has not advanced to the point of being celiac disease, but it's still, and both of them have symptoms that are similar and include abdominal pain, diarrhea, and bloating.
Yeah.
And but the difference is, of course, celiac disease is an autoimmune disease, and when people have the condition, consume gluten, it actually can cause some damage to the lining of the small intestine.
Yep, big problem. Number 4 is Crohn's disease. That's part of a condition that fall under the umbrella term inflammatory bowel disease. And, of course, I had digestive problems for most of my life until I went more towards the paleo and started eliminating carbohydrates, because this was causing me lots of problems.
No, I think there's a huge element of stress as well.
Sure.
You know, and anxiety, and when you're growing up and things go on in your life, and there's more children with these kinds of symptoms and so on.
Well, I was a child, and then my symptoms were that, and it was diarrhea, it was loss of appetite, it was abdominal pain, and doctors said, oh, you got a nervous stomach, your kid's just nervous, he's from another country, or whatever the thing was, or he changed schools, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and all of that was true, but not the underlying factor, you know.
No. The next one is colitis.
Ulcerative colitis, that's a serious primary type of inflammatory bowel disease, more common than Crohn's disease, although there is a foundation called the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The foundation estimates that colitis actually affects as many as 907,000 people in the United States. Yeah. And the symptoms of ulcerative colitis are abdominal pain, diarrhea, weight loss. They mirror those of Crohn's disease. But there's the biggest difference is that the ulcerative colitis only affects the large intestine.
Or the colon, not the small intestines. And medication may help with that treatment. In severe cases, surgery to remove the colon may be necessary. Number 6 is IBS.
Yeah, irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, this is similar to the other two, but not as severe, I think. It's triggered by diet, medications, or stress. Again, always stress comes up. So, and some of the symptoms are gas, abdominal pain, bloating, constipation, and diarrhea.
The same symptoms.
Same symptoms. It's just not as
really
wide.
Hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. It says IBS affects 10 to 15% of adults worldwide. And women are twice as likely to be affected as men.
Yeah, and most of the time it's triggered by food.
Right. So they say, remove trigger foods from the diet and minimize or better manage your stress. And those are the two things that seem to be a recurring theme.
Yeah, and then the next one is hemorrhoids as you're going down the whole tube, so to speak. Then at the end is the hemorrhoids because now the bowels are not working as well, so the stuff gets stuck and maybe you're pressing too hard and it causes problems. Toilet paper is another problem. Maybe a duvet might be better if you have hemorrhoids, those types of things. But a lot of people suffer from this. To alleviate this, they have creams and things like that, but changing your diet, maybe...
Yeah, drinking a lot of water makes a huge
too.
difference.
Yeah.
And I noticed that immediately. If I haven't really drunk enough water during the day, I got caught up in work or whatever, I wasn't reaching for the water bottle. And I don't drink gallons of water. I just, take a few mouthfuls of water every little bit, and that makes all the difference in how the system functions.
Yeah. Next one is called...
diverticulitis.
Yeah, and this affects about half the people between the ages of 60 and 80, so it's later on in life, and this is where kind of the bad food is catching up with you.
Yeah, and the damage that you've done to your intestines so that they cause weak spots in the lining. And
there's really no symptoms. In a sense, except for, the abdominal pain, nausea, and things like that. But that could be anything. And the diarrhea, the IBS again. So you may need surgery to correct this. Remember, now you're talking about the digestive process. The large intestines are inflamed and stuff is getting out of the walls, just like your stomach. And it's not a good thing, for sure.
What happens with diverticulitis is that there are... little pouches within the intestinal linings that become inflamed, or a little bit of food gets stuck in there, and it gets infected, and that's where you start having serious problems.
And then it starts opening up, it gets bleeding maybe like that, and once it starts bleeding, then you've got a little fissure going on.
Yeah.
Although, let's see, number 9 is the anal fissures. Speaking about fissures, and this doesn't sound pleasant at all. They're caused by straining and hard bowel movements, as with constipation. Yeah. And there's another one here that's peptic ulcers, and we'll discuss that when we get back. We'll be right back, folks. Stick around.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
We're working our way through the list of different kinds of digestive problems that people can have, and we're up to number 10, which is peptic ulcers, and people talk about ulcers all the time. That's been, I mean, I remember in the 50s it was on a TV show, you know, Dad had an ulcer, and it was neat, you know. So, but the interesting thing about ulcers is that they actually are a sore that develops in the lining of the stomach or the upper part of the small intestine, and they're typically caused by a bacterial infection, smoking, or taking excessive amounts of aspirins, ibuprofen, and naproxen. Mm-hmm. So, and again, you have the same kinds of
symptoms with the pain, nausea, bloating. Lack
Number
of
11 is constipation, and we all kind of know what that's, and lack of fiber.
Well, one thing it does say, it's an inadequate fiber intake. That may not be. We're finding a lot more about we don't eat a lot of fiber. We have no problems going to the bathroom. So,
gastroparesis is something that's very much a symptom of diabetes. It's something that occurs with diabetes, but it also could be from intestinal surgery or a nervous system disease, and it's a digestive. It reduces the ability of the stomach to empty its contents, to slow them, or to stop the movement of food from the stomach to the small intestine. Yep. So those are the kind of things that come about when you're not digesting your food properly.
Yeah. So what is the next article?
We talk about processing of food.
Yeah, processed food. This is what seems to be causing a lot of the problems that we have. So I thought we'd go into what is the purpose of food processing in the first place. And it's a method used to turn fresh foods into food products. They can involve one or a combination of various processes, including washing, chopping, pasteurizing, fermenting, packaging, cooking, and many more things.
It also includes adding ingredients to food.
Many times it does. So what are the best methods, or what are the methods? Yeah, so the first one I always think of is this one here, fermentation, the breakdown of yeasts and microorganisms under certain conditions. And this is what our ancestors discovered. Our ancient cultures all had fermented foods somewhere along the line, no matter if you were in the tropics or if you were up in the Arctic. People were using these things. And fermented is notably used for alcoholic beverages such as wine and beer and cider, and in the preservation of food such as sauerkraut and dry sausages and yogurts, and also for raising bread.
Right, that's what the yeast does. It ferments. But the interesting part about it is that other than the oxygen that's produced by the breakdown of the sugar, no oxygen is needed for the fermentation process.
Right, and that's why you seal things. You put them under water in brine or something like that. Freezing is another technique that's used to decrease the bacteria process, and it's mostly used in fruits, vegetables, meats, and fish, and just about everything except grains, I would say. Modified atmosphere packaging. This is a mix of a certain kind of gas that they put in there. I always thought that you vacuum pack and, boy, don't put anything in there, and that's the best way. But a lot of preservation is done by adding something, and the gas is usually just a normal type of gas.
Oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen.
Nitrogen, right.
That's in the air we breathe, and that's the kind of, so it's, they kind of inject it into the packaging, and it. Do you ever wonder why there's a big packet, you go to grab a bag of chips?
Yeah.
It's like there's this pillow of air in there.
Yeah, and I thought the reason was really to prevent the thing from, breaking down.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, pasteurization, this is something that started after First World War, really, on a mass scale. Usually started with milk and things like that, but you also use it in alcoholic beverages. They use it in canned foods and juicing. And the pasteurizing, basically, you take it up to a high temperature and then cool it right
fast.
down. Yeah, exactly. Smoking is another one. We've done that for ages. Smoking meat, smoking sausages, fish, or even cheese. Usually, we don't smoke any of the carbohydrates.
No, but that's, and the way to smoke is you expose the food to the smoke from burning materials, and often wood, mostly wood.
And a lot of these processes that we've talked about doesn't really harm the food in any way. Pasteurization certainly changes the milk, and I know that raw milk is probably better for you, but you better do it, pretty fast.
Judiciously.
Yeah, exactly. Additives play an important role preserving freshness, safety, and taste, and things like that.
Appearance in particular,
so this is mostly for carbohydrates. You're putting additives in there, but we also use additives in your sausages and meats to preserve them, too. But mostly the ones that we think about are not so highly processed. It's just a little process going through. We've done a little bit to it, and it's not too bad. But when you add additives to it to change maybe the taste, maybe you've taken out things like sugar and salt.
Maybe you've added things like sugar and salt.
Things like sugar and salt.
That's part of the problem. Yeah. And it's one of the purposes of food additives is to maintain the shelf life.
Yeah.
Of a product, so you want to
and it makes it more edible too. It helps break it down. You may be adding things in other words, fortifying things. So you may add something like vitamin D.
Yeah, there you go.
Like
fortifying. That's the key right there.
The trouble is, it's not in the same living organism. It's changed a little bit, and what you've added may be synthetic. It may come from something else that's not compatible. So that's questionable for me.
Yeah, now food processing does decrease the cost of foods in many cases.
Yeah, it's also convenient.
Frozen vegetables have a similar nutritional value as fresh ones, but they're cheaper.
Yeah.
They don't have they can be bought in bulk. They don't have the pods or the stems and so on.
I think the basic thing we have to remember, and this article kind of says that, is how does processed food fit into a healthy diet? And I always thought, well, if you're indigenous people, you're going into the winter and now you need a little store of things. So maybe you dry them, maybe you can them. And, there's a lot of cultures have lots of different foods that they put aside for the winter time. Yeah, they'll have fresh meat if they can get it, but a lot of times your nutrition value goes down during the wintertime because you're eating these foods. They're not as nutritious, but they keep you alive during tough times.
Right.
So they're important in our culture, and a lot of these foods you'll find in our religious ceremonies even, just like the wine and just like the bread and all those things. Wow. And the reason for that is because they're important. We need to remember them. We need to pass them down generation to generation. So they become important. Just remember, the higher process, the less nutritional value. So if you're not under dire straits and you don't need to eat processed food, don't.
Yeah, well, the big problem with the processed foods is that it adds a lot of sugar and salt. that seems to be the
because
the
remember,
prevailing.
salt is a preservative to preserve food too. In some cases, sugars change the food into fermentation types of things.
Yeah.
So some of them are much natural, but a lot of them aren't. And the more ingredients you have on that list, the worse it gets.
Yeah, and they talk about the fact that processed foods, occasionally you can eat that
There you
stuff.
go.
But
That's that 80-20 rule. You do it 80% of the time real good, that 20% won't hurt you too much. Stick around, folks. We've got another segment. We'll be right back.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
So, welcome back. We have sold our house. We went through the inspection process. We're closing this week sometime, I think Thursday probably. And then Saturday we're heading out to Durango to go find someplace to live.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a big adventure.
Moving on to our next phase of life.
Yeah. And we're really excited about this. We've talked about it for the last couple of years, doing it, and then all of a sudden we said, let's sell our house, and boy, did it sell fast. The market is hot. But it's the same thing is happening in Colorado. A lot of people are buying there. We have a good realtor out there, and we're going to go see them, and we'll be on for 2 weeks as far as the show is concerned. We hope to be back in about a week or so with a place to go to after that. So when we come back, we got a couple of weeks just to pack up. We got every appointment made, so we're pretty much on schedule with everything. We're just getting excited about this whole thing. So
A lot to think about, a lot to plan, a lot to do.
Yeah, we'll have 2 more shows from St. Petersburg. Then, depending on the place we get and how soon we can move in, the next show will be sometime in June, probably. And we'll just go from there, and we'll take you along for our adventures, and we'll certainly be showing you some of the areas and some of the adventures we'll be going on. So that'll kind of be incorporated in part of the show. So it's going to be kind of a brand new show, be called the same thing, and we'll be here, only not here, we'll be there. That's the only
We'll be
difference.
on the air.
Yeah, we'll be on the air. So, yeah, we're leaving Saturday morning. Hope to be there on Monday. We're going to be driving because we don't like flying right now. And
well, we enjoy our routine on the road too. We've got it down to a science.
yeah, we got the vehicle all prepped to go, and yeah. So I don't know what else to say about it except
It's a change, and we're both kind of backing off of work and moving on to the next things that we're going to do. And there's lots of things to do, and we're excited. We want to do it while we're young and enough and healthy enough to be able to maximize our enjoyment of the environment. And, and we already know some people out there, and I have family out there. And so everybody's pretty excited about it.
I'm excited, that's for sure. And thanks for sticking around. We'll be taking you along for the trip when we can. So we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.